So, as a student of your political science, you must need to know about what are the different type of diplomatic and political issues that a country has faced from 1945 to till today. So I think that this unit is from 22 or 23 maybe, but randomly I choose this topic, and it is there are 4 or 5 issues are there, like social, economic, diplomatic, and political issues. So independent questions will become relating what are the different type of political issues that India involves in collaborations with United Nations while dealing with other nations, or maybe what are the diplomatic issues that India is dealing with in collaborations with United Nations. So students, let's first about the political and diplomatic issues. So in our background or in our agenda, we are going to cover the introductions here, the India's role in war and the peace in collaboration with United Nations, India's role against racism, India's role against colonizations and human rights, development, India is in support of regional organizations or not, non-alignment movement, and global actions. So these are the issues that we are going to study in this chapter. In the introductions, first of all, we know that all states of the world are facing with diverse issues like the problems relating to peace. What are the problems relating to the peace? Like poverty, hunger, traffic. So different things are there that are related with peace. Second thing, human rights, development, environment protections, trade, etc. So after the Second World War, these are the basic issues that all the nations are faced. A single nation cannot handle all the problems personally, because a single nation cannot be military strong, cannot be economically well off, or cannot be politically settled. So nations require other nations' collaborations and negotiations in order to settle these type of issues. Which type of issue? The issues that states that stand against peace, human rights, development, environment protection, and trades. Because we know that a country, in order to be fully flourished, require peace in internal scenario, give the citizens protections against human rights, all-round development, social and economic, and also environment protections and trade. So a single nation cannot do in itself to all these things. So it requires what? The other nations help. So here what happened? India itself cannot solve all the problems that are arising from development, environment protections, trades, human rights, and peace. So it requires different regional organizations, different type of economic organizations, to solving these problems. Having an experience in solving the issues from the British era, India herself is now as a member of international community try to solve all these problems. So in our syllabus or in our your chapters, we are going to study about the role of India in collaboration with United Nations, how India solving different issues, how India will protect the human rights, how India will give the how India will proceed towards development, how India will protect the environment, and how India will imbibe towards international trade. Okay. In our second slides, we should have a knowledge about United Nations. As we know that United Nations is an organization. It has been established in the year 1945. It was established due to the failure of League of Nations. It was established after the Second World War in order to give what? Peace and prosperity to every nations of the world. The basic principles, as we know that, the basic principles of India's foreign policy, which was adopted after the independence, is what? Peace, prosperity, active cooperations, everything. As also, the principles of United Nations is also providing peace and providing the prosperity to every nations of the world. Is the motto of India and UN are in the same level. So they want to work in collaborations to maintain world peace, economic progress, and all the problems that has been an issues in the present era. Then what are these type of the problems that India in collaborations with United Nations are solving? The first is called as that the war and the peace. Any doubt, students, you are having? In the first slides, we had covered about why there is the demand of United Nations, why the India is raising its voice against the issues that are arising in different parts of the world. In the second slide, we had covered about why India is working in collaboration with United Nations. So in this chapter, the thing is called as that the war and peace. What is India's role during the time of war and maintaining peace, maintaining world peace? As a member of United Nations, India disapproved the forcible occupations of the territory by a state. It means that a superior state cannot forcibly attack an inferior state to conquer the territory. Just like in what? USA attack Iraq. Okay, or just like as the Kuwait and Iraq. So separately what happened? India is always having a voice against the forcibly interventions of the superpower against the poor country. India treats as a violation of the principle of sovereignty and territorial integrity and demanded settlement of these problems through negotiation and peace. If a country is forcibly attacked another country, then what happened? The sovereignty of the poor country will be violated. It will be lost. The superior country conquer upon the poor country or maybe the inferior country. This is called as the interventions. This may be the political interventions, military interventions, economic interventions. These things are there. So firstly, the country tries to intervene economically, then after capture the poor country politically. Just like in India case. In India, before 200 years ago, The Britishers intervened inside India to do economical business, or to do what? Extended the economical market. So this is called as the economical intervention. And they acclimatize and they will interpret their intentions by establishing military interventions. It means that they are establishing the political domain on India. So as a country like India, having its experience of 200 years, India is always against the forcible interventions. Interventions, you cannot intervene the sovereignty of another nations. This is called as the reject of forcible interventions. And India says that if a country is forcibly intervenes upon the sovereignty of another country, then it can be called as that the violations of the principles of sovereignty. The violations of the principle of sovereignty. And also what? The poor country losing its territorial integrity. So India always demanded to solving these problems through peace, through negotiations, through settlements, and to front, what? The front to front, the treaty, or maybe the front to front war. The country बस शांति रे कथाबार्ता हेकरी जिनसटा को सॉल्व करो. So this is what? This is what the negations of the war and the implementations of the peace. So this is the first thing. And for this purpose, India supported what? The sovereignty right of Egypt, Hungary, Congo, Lebanon, etc. So here what will happen? The superpowers like that of your Austria-Hungary. In the Austria-Hungary, there was an interventions, military interventions. In the Egypt also, as Egypt is a small country, so there will be certain type of attack. The military, your corps attacks are there on Egypt. So India is always supporting the sovereign rights of these type of nations. In 1990, India is always taking its stand in supporting United States to free Kuwait from Iraq. Students, just write what I am saying to you. Just I have your in the slides I have just underlined the points. Points टाको मु जोटा कहूची ताको narrately करके ताको लेखो परे बुझा पड़िबनी. In 1990, India supported US to free Kuwait. Hello, Subhajita student. In 1990, India you supported United States to free Kuwait from Iraq. In 2003, India strongly opposed United States to remove the President Saddam Hussein from power in Iraq. Okay, so at that time, what will happen? Some says that in 1990, India had a soft heart towards United States, but in 2003, it has been since that India was strongly opposed to United States, while United States has an issues to remove the President Saddam Hussein from power in Iraq. It means that India has always in support of justice, whether a country is a superpower, whether a country is a big or a country is poor. Because India always wants what? World peace, economic progress, and also justice to the small nations. As we know that, it's a doubt student bhitre. କିଛି doubt ଅଛି? Clearly ଶୁଭୁଛି ତ? Okay. In 1990, in 1992, sorry, 1992, hello? In 1992, India demanded a permanent seat in Security Council. India dramatically demanding this because of their contributions towards peace and security. As we know that India always stands for world peace, economic progress, and protections of human rights. But still, India is not having any permanent security. So, India in 1992 demanded a permanent seat in Security Council. Now, India is doing different peacekeeping activity under the umbrella of United Nations, and everything can be done through negotiations, to reconciliations, etc. If we calculate among 55 countries that was under the Security Council, India is now 10 to 15. India is in the top of the 10 to 15 country which has done many things for many countries. So here, what India did, India here among the 10 to 15 nations, India contributing civilian soldiers not to fight war, but to terminate them peacefully. In Suez, in Cambodia, in Somalia, in Herzegovina. So in everywhere, India tries to establish peace and overthrow the coups and demanding to establishing a world peace basing upon economic progress and development. Any doubt, students? Voice clear ଅଛି କି ନା problem ରହୁଛି? Problem ନାହିଁ ତ? Next slide ଯିବି. Okay. Can students, you can classify about the regimes, because we know that racism is also an issue. Is India has any stand in racism? Is India is contributed towards racism? Is India is working against racism? We know that racism means what? That is called as racial discriminations. It means that you will not favor or you will not bias for any color or for any color or white or maybe black. If you are not favoring any type of race, that is called as that racism. We know that from the very beginning, racism was a practice in South Africa. It was a practice in South Africa. And from the very beginning, in 1946, during the first General Assembly, India has a stand to oppose the racisms, or maybe called the apartheid, that was quite prevalent in South Africa. In India, with the help of the United Nations, with their joint endeavor, tried to eliminate the racism from South Africa. As a result of which, in 1993, Nelson Mandela, who is called as that, the offsprings of, or maybe called as that, the follower of your Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, he declared itself a country which is apartheid free country. The South Africa is a country which is apartheid free country. So do you think you don't think that India has any role in establishing the against the regimes or not? Yes. Without the active contributions of India and United Nations, the practice of regimes cannot be eliminated from South Africa. So India's role in regimes or in against regimes cannot be neglected. Then in our next slides, we are having colonialism. What do you mean by colonialisms? Colonialism means what? It is the opposites of decolonizations. A country, or maybe called as a developed country, try to make some other country to be the colony and be its fold, just like the case of India. ମାନେ ମଝିରେ ପ୍ରେଜେଣ୍ଟେସନ ଦିଅ ନା ମତେ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ ହଉଛି ପ୍ଲିଜ ମତେ ଟିକେ କୋଅପରେଟ କର. So what do you mean by colonialism? Colonialism means what? It is the opposites of decolonization. Decolonization means what? A country is called as that. A country is becomes a captive country, or maybe called as a country is subjugated under some superpower or some super country, and all its economical, political, and social control is in the hands of the other country, and the country is being itself a colony. I told you in my previous class, the in United States of in the in your class of federalisms, confederations, I think that you must remember confederations, federations. Okay, so the colony, this type of colony means just like India before its independence was a colony under British Empire. Okay, so with the aim to establish the market economically in India, your UK compelled India to become a colony during that period. So the colony himself having its wishes to united themselves, that is called as a confederations. I told you before. But when some colonies, just like in United States of America, 13 colonies united themselves to make one federations. So India having its experience that what type of tortures, what types of problems, what types of your necessity, what types of exploitations were there during the 200 years back. So having its experience against the colonialism, India is trying its best to decolonize the country that are tried to independent after 1945. So after the Second World War, many countries are there. They are decolonized from the superpowers, from the East blocks, or from the rest, well, your Soviet Russia, or maybe from the Germany, or from Italy, and from United States of America. So India having its experience from colonial regimes. Yes, sir? Any doubts, student? Hello?
Madam, yes,
Hello? Hello? How, sir?
Hello.
କୁହନ୍ତୁ. Hello? Hello? हेलो
देखा स्लाइड
स्लाइड देखा
हेलो
जाउनी हाँ
मैडम
हाँ
आप
सर
କିଛି ପିଲାଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖାଯାଉନି
स्लाइड देखा
ହଁ
जाउनी
ହଁ ହଁ ଏବେ ଦେଖା
एबे देखा जाउची प्रोसीड करबी कि सर सर प्रोसीड करबी कि पिला ने प्रोसीड करबी तो सर किछि कोन कहू ना दे
ଭଏସ କଟିଯାଉଛି କାହିଁକି ଭଏସ ବ୍ରେକ୍ ଟିକେ ହଉଛି ଭଏସ ବ୍ରେକ୍
ମୁଁ ପଚାରୁଥିଲି ପ୍ରୋସିଡ୍ କରିବି ନା ଚାକିରି ବାହାରି ପଡିଲି ପଚାରୁଛି
ଆପଣ ପ୍ରୋସିଡ୍
ଭଏସ୍
କରନ୍ତୁ
ବ୍ରେକ୍
ଆଜି ଆଜି
ଓକେ
ଲାଷ୍ଟ ଦିନରେ ଟିକେ ଡିଷ୍ଟର୍ବାନ୍ସ ହେଇଯାଉଛି ଆଉ
ନାଇଁ ନାଇଁ ମୁଁ ଭାବିଲି ଗୋଟେ ଚାକିରି କାଢିଦେଲେ ବୋଲି ଭାବିଲି
ପିଲାମାନେ
ଏବେ
କାଢିବେ ଯଦି କାଢିବେ ଆଉ
କଣ ସାର୍ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଭଏସ୍ ବ୍ରେକ୍ ହଉଛି ମତେ ତ କ୍ଲିୟର ଶୁଭୁଛି स्टूडेंट्स सुबुची ना
ଶୁଭୁଛି
ନାଇଁ
ତ
ରେ
ଠିକ ଅଛି ତାହେଲେ ଓକେ ଠିକ ଅଛି
वॉइस ब्रेक होची की स्टूडेंट यस मैम वॉइस ब्रेक होची so colonialisms
इट्स ऑडिबल इट्स ऑडिबल you can continue
audible to so having experience
କିଏ
against
କହୁଛି ଅଡିବୁଲ କିଏ କହୁଛି ନଟ୍ କ୍ଲିୟର
nice sir yes ma'am audible okay yes ma'am it's audible ହେଲା କଣ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଚାଲିବି ତ
ओके ओके ओके
okay
ओके
clear
मैडम ओके मैडम
ଶୁଭୁଛି so we have differences in between the colonialisms and decolonizations. So India having its experience against colonialisms and being one of the first decolonization states after the Second World War, because India got its independence in 1947 and our Second World War was ended in 1945. So as a country, as a first country, we got the decolonizations after the Second World War. India credited to eliminate the practices of colonialism from all the world, from all over the world. Okay, जेहेतु इंडिया जानिथिला जे colonialism जो practices जो अच्छी that was a bad practices because there was no political freedom, economic freedom, social freedom, or no freedom is there. Only exploitation was there. So having such type of dusty actions, India took the credit, not a country to be colonized under any nations. So it targeted to decolonize the newly independent nations. So as a result, Indonesia had decolonizations in the year 1940 from Dutch. So by the help of Indonesia got its independence in the year of 1940 from the Dutch Empire. Then in our second, that is called as human rights. You know what do you mean by human rights? The civil rights, the rights that is called as civil rights mean what type of rights? Right to life, right to freedom, right against torture, right against the unlawful detentions. We are having in our article in our constitutions that is unlawful detentions. You cannot detain by someone unlawfully. Someone should be proved the reason of your detentions. ଯେମିତି ତମ ଘରେ କିଏ ଆସିଲା ପରେ ତମେ କହୁଛ मते प्रूफ देखाओ तमरो वारंट रो. Similarly, no one can torture. Even a husband cannot torture the wife. So freedom against the torture. Then right to freedom. Freedom means to move from here to there, to form associations. So these are the freedom. Freedom of speech, freedom of expressions. Then right to life. No one has the right to take the life of you. And also you are not having your right to take the life of yourself. तमे निजे भी students कौन है any doubt students तमे chat box रे लेखो मझिरे audio problem होबो. So these are the things that are called that human rights. So every country, India stood to the cause of civil rights like right to life, right to freedom, freedom from torture, unlawful detentions, and also giving political rights, right to self-preservation. So these are what? These are called as the human rights. So India work in collaborations with United Nations to facing these type of problems. ये सुबुनी अरुण तमको सुबुनी मते तो सुबुची पला रे अच्छा अन्य माने सुबुची कि रे अच्छा समस्त तो अरुण तमर प्रॉब्लम अछि टी भले देखो अच्छा स्लाइड जदी शो होनी ताले मते लेखि कहबो ला India is a nation who tries for the protections of the human rights. तमु जदी सुबुनी ताले गोटे काम करो तमे स्वागत दास रे अकाउंट को स्विच ऑन करो तमे को अकाउंट को करचो मु जाननी तमे स्वागत दास रे अकाउंट को आसो आसले तमु सुबिबो. So India is a country is always fights for the human rights in collaboration with United Nations. So what the nations India tries to protect or to give right to life, right to freedom against the tortures and unlawful detentions. Then in our next slides, we are having the development. So in this slide, the development means what? There are two types of development: social development and economic development. For India, economic development is the necessary preconditions for peace. If a country is economically well off, then country will not fight against another. In that country, the peace is the surety. Jadi kote country then leave meeting and join again. Jadi kote country economically well off नथिबो, जदि गोटे कंट्री पुअर कंट्री थिबो से कंट्री रे कोन हबो देयर वाज कॉन्फ्लिक्ट देयर वाज प्रॉब्लम्स देयर वाज पॉवर्टी सो मेनी थिंग्स आर देयर सो ए कंट्री इन ऑर्डर टू बी डेवलप्ड socially advanced and economically developed is required because for India the economic development is a necessary preconditions for peace because poverty, hunger, exploitations, these things breed conflicts. If there is the poverty, then it welcome conflicts. जदि तमरो दरिद्र थिबो किंबा तमरो शोषण होतबो किंबा तमरो भूखिला थिबो ए सब कंट्री गुडा रे कोन होची conflict start with. Conflict means to whom? To the two group, rich one and the poor one, the owner and the labor. So it says that the economic development is a priority or should be a priority for every country. If all the populations of the country, their per capita income is high and they are economically well off, then the country is a developed one. So India is trying itself to assisting the poor country, the economically backward nations, through different type of through establishing different type of commissions. These commissions are regional economic commissions, United Nations development programs, United Nations Conference of Trade and Tariff, and United Nations Conference of Trade and Development. Okay. So what was meant? Because in order to make the economically backward nations to economically well off, India is trying to give economically assistance to this poor country through regional economic commissions, United Nations development programs, United Nations Conference of Trade and Tariff and Development. गोटे कंट्री जदि पुअर हैला से कंट्री को हमें केमती डेवलप करियो. So it needs certain type of loan, certain type of credit, just like your World Bank is there. हम जदि कोन प्रॉब्लम हैला बे तमरो कोरोना हैला, कोरोना हैले तमरो कोन हैला, तमरो इकोनॉमिकल रेट तमरो डाउन हैला, तमरो वर्तमान 2 वर्ष पर्यंत कोनोसी एम्प्लॉयमेंट नाही, लोक मानकर डीए कमी गला, से जगह तमरो कोन होची वर्ल्ड बैंक रो हम कोन लोन लेके आसे पड़ियो. So these are the things, because the country always try to establish its economy. जिमि तमो करे सपोज बोन रो बाहागर हे बाउथिबो किंबा तमरो कोठी गोटे रिक्रुटमेंट हेची किंबा सिलेक्शन हेची, तमरो एडमिशन पे पैसा दरकार लखे घरे पैसा नाही, तम सेठी कोन करछो लोन नोछो, तम जॉब करे लोन डा रिकवर करछो किंबा बोनी रो बाहागर पर ताको रिटर्न पे करछो. So we want to sustain our positions economically through the loan, through assistance, through anything else. So in this respect, India is a champion to assist the backward nations to provide the credit in monetary basis. सबुबले इंडिया चाहिए जे कोन से कंट्री जदि पुअर हैला ताकू कोन करिवो असिस्टेंस देबा आरंभ करिवो. So here India has also a role during the year of 1960 to 1970. So what was the role? India raised against unstable price of agriculture products. What was the unstable price of agriculture products? तमरो सबु जाको इग्नो मटेरियल भितरे अछि ताकू खोजि के काढ. ओके मु जहा तमरो पॉइंट्स करिछि सबु जाको तुम इग्नो मटेरियल भितरे अछि. ओके स्टूडेंट्स, कारण तमे मते कहउछो मैडम आपनको स्लाइड रे को बहि जणा पड़नी कोन जणा पड़नी, तमे इग्नो मटेरियल धरिछो पॉइंट वाइज करे लिखा अछि ताको भल्ला रे देखो, कारण तमरो एग्जाम रे जो आसीबो ए मटेरियल अकॉर्डिंगली आसीबो. So in 1960 to 1970, India raised its voice against the unstable price rise of agricultural products. And this unstable price rise was initiated by Western countries like United States of America. Okay, and this price is related to agricultural products. Okay, so here India, with the help of United Nations, raised its voice in 1960 to 1970 against United States of America, not to unstable, not to give a unstable price of agricultural products. Because I ଜାଣିଛେ generally country गुड़ाक तमर agricultural country गुड़ा अच्छे तमर जदि प्राइस राइज ହେଇଗଲା agricultural product उपरे ताले आम मानकर गोटे गोटे माने संबळ नथिबो से जिंसडा को हम किनिया पाए. Okay, so India in favor of the poor country raised its voice against United States of America. Any doubt, student? Voice break ho chuki re? In 1970, India tries to establishing a new international economic order. In 1970, India was taking an initiative to establishing an international economic order. What was the major aim of the new international economic order? The major aim of new international economic order is based upon democracy, equity, and justice. Difficult laguchi? It provides what? To establishing a democratic nations all over the world, provide equity to every nations. There should not be biased of superpower and also the poor country or the richer country. And India has a stay for the justice. For these purposes, in 1970, there was the establishment of new international economic order. And India has also a say through the new international economic order to what? The problems against or the problem relating to environment, populations control, food, human rights, and women empowerment. Women empowerment means first giving the priority to the women, not only socially but also economically. Second thing is what? Environment protections. Don't use the environment with your convenience. So every nation should be protect the environment, like that of Rio de Janeiro Treaty. So there are different treaties are there that are related with environment. Then populations control. Then food, hygienic food. Then human rights and women empowerment. So by establishing a new international economic order in 1970, India has a say for establishing the democracy all over the world and for overthrowing the totalitarian regimes. माने 1970 रे इंडिया चाहिला जे गोटे डेमोक्रेटिक सिस्टम सबुआडे हो आ जो तमरो टोटलिटेरियन थिला जो तमरो जो जोडा कोचन तमरो कोन कप सिस्टम बा तमरो अथॉरिटेरियन रिजन्स रहउची इट शुड बी इरेडिकेटेड. Second है कोन इंडिया इज इन फेवर ऑफ इक्वालिटी. Equity means what? That is called as equality. India provide equality in the sake of what? The peace, in the sake of the war, everything. If there is a war in between the two nations, India will not favor for the superpower or for the richer country. India having its say for justice, for the equality. Then India is also a great champion for sustainable development. What do you mean by sustainable development? Sustainable development means conserving or consuming the environment in a manner that the present generations can make use of the biological resource without denying the same privilege to the coming generation. It means that you should conserve the environment. You should protect the environment. In the same way, how you can use and leave the same proportions to the future generations that the other will, but the other will also make use of this. ଯେମିତି ରାସ୍ତାରେ ଗଲା ବେଳକୁ ତମେ କଣ କରୁଛ, ଛେପ ପକେଇ ଦଉଛ। ଗଞ୍ଜାମରେ ଠୁ ଆରମ୍ଭ କରିକି ତମର ଓଡିଶାରେ ଏମିତି କୌଣସି ଡିଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ଟ ନାହିଁ ଯୋଉଠି ଲୋକ ଗୁଟଖା ଖାଉନାହାନ୍ତି। ଲୋକ ସବୁ ଭାବୁଥିବେ ଗୁଟଖା ଖାଇଲା ବେଳକୁ ତ ଜଣେ ଖାଉଛି, ଚାଲ ଛେପ ପକେଇଦବା। କିନ୍ତୁ 100 ପିପୁଲ ଭିତରେ 90% ପିପୁଲ ଗୁଟଖା ଖାଉଛନ୍ତି। ଦେ ଆର୍ କନଜ୍ୟୁମିଂ ଗୁଟଖା। ସୋ ଗୁଟଖା ଯେତେବେଳେ କନଜ୍ୟୁମ କରିବେ ତମେ ଛେପ ପକେଇବ, ତମକୁ ଲାଗିବ ତମେ ସଫା, ଅନ୍ୟମାନେ ଖରାପ। ସେଠୁ କଣ ହଉଛି ନା ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ କଣ ହଉଛି, ତମର ଏନଭାୟରନମେଣ୍ଟ ପଲ୍ୟୁସନ ହେବାକୁ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରୁଛି। ତମେ ନିଜେ ମଧ୍ୟ ସେଟାକୁ ୟୁଟିଲାଇଜ କରିପାରୁନ ଏନଭାୟରନମେଣ୍ଟ କୁ, କିମ୍ବା ତମ ଫ୍ୟୁଚର ଜେନେରେସନ କୁ ମଧ୍ୟ ତମେ ୟୁଟିଲାଇଜ କରିବାକୁ ଦଉନ। So this is called as what? Sustainable development. Sustainable development has 3 features. One is conserve the environment. Second is conserve the environment and also give a scope to your future generations to conserve. तम फ्यूचर जनरेशंस मध्य जिमिति तमर एनवायरनमेंट को बा तमर परिवेश को ठीक भाव यूज करेंगे। So in development practices or in development issues, we had discussed about what? The development issues divided into 2 types, social and economic. Social issues, what? The economic development is required in order to country to be free from conflict, from aggressions, from poverty, from different things. If a country is poorer, if there is hunger is there, if there is starvation is there, then peoples are fighting against one to another, or there may be sometimes group fight is there. So in these circumstances, economic development is required. So India is a great pioneer or the champion for giving economical assistance to the poor country. Then the next one is called as that in 1960 to 1970, India having raising its voice against United States of America. When United States of America raising the price of agricultural products, it was raising the price of the agricultural products, because the agricultural products is a product which is required every corner of the world, and United States of America has no monopoly to raise the price of the agricultural products without the concurrence of other nations. So at that time, India had a voice against the United States of America. In 1970, India is trying to establishing what? The new international economic order. That order is basing upon what? Equity, justice, and democracy. And for the development, India work for sustainable development. India always work for sustainable development. Conserve the environment for its applications and leave the environment exactly for your future generations. That is called a sustainable development. Can I proceed for the next slide? Is it doubt, student? Slide देखा जाती तो? Then the next thing is called as that regional organizations. So, what do you mean by the regional organizations? After 1945, there was a vast number of regional organizations are there, like that of Commonwealth, Commonwealth nations. That is not Commonwealth, that is Commonwealth nations, organizations of American states, OAS, or maybe organizations of American states, organizations of African Unit, organization of Islamic Conference, SARC, ASEAN, etc. So these may be the regional organizations having had a great play after India got its independence. So during that time, India had attitudes, that is the combinations of both caution and collaboration. It means that just like for the regional organizations of Commonwealth nations and the ASEAN and for the SARC, India has soft attitudes. But in the case of OAS and organizations of African Unit and the Islamic Conference, was very cautious and it had a rough attitudes towards this type of organizations. So India, with the help of the India's role with the regional organizations, then we can found that India, with the help of Commonwealth your nations, play a positive role in support of the right of black majority populations in South Africa. Because India itself is not, or personally or individually, is not fighting against fighting against the black majority of South Africa. But with the help of the Commonwealth nations, India played a positive role for the South Africa, for apartheid of South Africa. Then second thing is what? India had also disappointing the military corps in every nation. The nations that are under the military corps rule. So India was trying to help these nations to free from the corps or the military corps. Take the case of Fiji, take the case of Nigeria, take the case of Pakistan, or take the case of everywhere. So everywhere, take the case of your Indonesia. So everywhere, India, with the help of the Commonwealth nations, help this country to disapproving the military corps on themselves. ସେମାନଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ଯୋଉ ମିଲିଟାରୀ କର୍ପସ ମାନଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ କ୍ୟାପଚର ଥିଲା, ସେ ମିଲିଟାରୀ କର୍ପସ କୁ ସେ ଏଲିମିନେଟ କରି ଦେଇଥିଲା. Okay. So one thing more we can noted here, that instead of not a full-time member, before the ASEAN Association, before your Southeast policy, in 1985, India is always want a permanent seat where in your ASEAN. So initially India was not a full-time member, and India is very pleased with Association of Southeast Asian nations. But after the Look East policy that was established in 1985, now India was being an active member in Asia. So India's role cannot be neglected in ASEAN, and India was a active member besides Bhutan, Bangladesh, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Okay, and if we recall the birth of the SARC, that was in the year of 1985. India, with the help of the other nations, tried to establish the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperations. So we can say that these regional organizations are great features in the contemporary world. We cannot overlook the role of this type of regional organizations. Sometimes India is a member of these organizations, while in other cases, the India is not a member of this type of regional organization. But still India trying its best with collaborations with United Nations to play more role in ASEAN, in SARC, and with Commonwealth for disapproving military costs in Fiji, Nigeria, and Pakistan. Okay, students. One thing more here to be noted, the Organization of Islamic Conference. India never tolerate the intimations of these regional organizations in the internal problem, like the case of the Jammu Kashmir issue. In between the tensions of India and Pakistan, the Organization of Islamic Conference is always supporting the Pakistan. But India never have a no towards the Islamic Conference or the organizations of Islamic Conference. Just like in the case of the NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, that was established in the year of 1949. So North Atlantic Treaty Organizations, India is not the member of North Atlantic Treaty Organizations. So India still is a member of that type of regional organizations which are required to solve different type of the problems. Then the next issues, that is called NAM. What do you mean by NAM? NAM means what? That is called as non-alignment movement. What do you mean non-alignment movement? Because we know that this was a practice that was raised during 1950, where it was read after the Second World War. Not aligned movement or non-aligned movement. It means that not aligned with any power blocks, but being friendly with everyone, so that it have a say in the international arena. तमे जदि कोनोसी ब्लॉक रो जदि सपोर्ट कलो ताले कोन हबो हमर इंडिपेंडेंस ता लॉस्ट हबो. So the different type of your independent nations, like Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru from India, your Yugoslavia, Tito, Nasir from Egypt, and so they tried to establish the non-alignment movement in 1950, and it had its first conference in 1961. And in the 1961, it had certain type of objectives. What were the objectives? That objective was anti-colonialism, anti-racialism, development, and globalizations. Until now, NAM at 13 sessions. And the last sessions that was established in Sri Lanka, Kuala Lumpur, that was in the year 2003. I was a student. I took this paper as a special paper in my MPhil level. I know that the NAM has no relevance in the present scenario because today's there was no bipolarizations, because after the disintegrations of Soviet Union in 91, there was one superpower is there, and maybe China is occupied the place of United States of America. So there is no questions of non-alignment movement. So after 2003, no nations are interested to having some summit. These are called 13 summits are there. So the nations are not interested to do or the nations are not interested to do any summit in futures, because there was no relevance of the non-alignment movement. And the NAM has that type of issues are there. If India was the champion of the non-alignment movement, Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. So as the India was a champion of the non-alignment movement, so India was trying its best for anti-colonialism, anti-racialism, development, globalizations. Okay. Next point is that it is called as that globalizations. That was your last point. What do you mean by the globalizations? Any students? Globalizations को लिए कौन बुझुचो? कोई परियो? What do you mean by globalizations? Lone traveler? तम ना कौन? लेखो globalizations को लिए कौन? Globalizations means what? Capturing the market internationally. Just like is what? Crediting the money from one nation to the another nation in a very few times. Just like is what? Connecting the informations from one nation to other nations. That is also the part of the globalization. So doing a certain things or connecting the whole world in a just few minutes, that is called as globalization. So before that, what? There was no practices of globalization. So in the globalization era, you may here write down the definitions of globalization. मते लागिरानी जे ग्लोबलाइजेशन रे किछि पॉइंट करके तुमको देबी, किंतु ड्यू टू द ओवर एम्फासिस of globalizations, the United States of America is trying to be globally superpower. United States of America रे जो वर्तमान जो जोरजार चली छि डॉलर सिस्टम, United States of America को एमिति कंट्री जो कंट्री डा कोन करछि ग्लोबली से वर्तमान सुपर पावर है कि रहि छै. So India had a what the no towards the globalizations, and the globalization guru that was from the United States of America. Okay, only liberating the international intel law to produce a open market. Mu tuमको इतने shortcut रे बुझी रे. Cases. In your first slide, now to recap करिवि तापर next part रे तुम पढिबो. So in our first slides, हमर कोन थिला तमरो इडा होची यूनिट 17 जेटा तमरो पॉलिटिकल एंड डिप्लोमेटिक इश्यूज. Political and diplomatic issues रे what is India's role or what is India's your say in collaboration with the United Nations relating to the political and diplomatic issues. Is India is solving the political issues and diplomatic issues in collaboration with United Nations or not. एथिरे मु कोन देखली first United Nations when it was established, what was the main objective of United Nations? So the main objective of what was the main objective of United Nations? To end the bipolarity. That was the your objective of United. To end the Second World War. That was the your objective of United Nations, and to establish the peace and prosperity. Okay, so with the basic aim of the establishing the peace and prosperity, the United Nations, the same principles ordained by India during the time of sorry. So here, student go to the second row, more phone last here. कौन है स्टूडेंट डिस्कशन अच्छा so is the both United Nations and the India are having the same principles that is called as the establishing peace and prosperity, so they want to work in collaborations with each others for different type of issues like that of war, like that of peace, like that of reject possible intervention. So these things are there. If students, if you know the meaning of racism, then colonialism, human rights, development, regional organizations, NAM, etc. And the last one is globalizations. If you are having any doubt, then ask me. Otherwise, I will proceed to the next slide. Anything else? अच्छा मु श्रीलंका को लिखि देछि कि कोड लिखि देछि मोर 5 मिनिट भीतर तुम स्लाइड टा बनाला many mistakes are there, spelling mistakes are there, so do it correct. The doubt of the students, questions may be come regarding what are the different type of the political and the diplomatic issues. Direct questions will come. What were the on paste corner ki paste on doubt अछि कि लोन ट्रैवलर तुम ना कौन मुझे जाने नहीं किसी डाउट अछि कि अच्छा मैम व्हाट वाज द 3 फीचर्स ऑफ सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट सस्टेनेबल पूरी भूलियला पढ़ेला स्लाइड development. So sustainable, so what do you mean by the sustainable development? Sustainable development means conserving the environment in a manner that the present generations can make use of the biological resources. The biological resources around you. So you should conserve the environment in a manner like that of wood cutting. तमे जाउचो गछरे गछटा काटी दोचो ओके जाफरे कोन होची एनवायरनमेंट पॉल्यूशन sta होची so you should conserve the environment that is called the biological environment जति के सब हमर biological environment हमर सराउंडिंग अछि एयर पॉल्यूशन सो वाटर पॉल्यूशन सो जति के हमें पॉल्यूशन हमें करूचे We should not pollute them, but we should conserve them. ଏବେ ଦେଖ କରୋନା ହେଲା ପରେ ତମେ no doubt this is the what the airborne virus. It was proved that it is a airborne virus. But এই জিনিসটা কোন ପାଇଁ হচ্ছে ତମର air pollution ହେଲା, water pollution ହେଲା, ଯାଫଳରେ କଣ ହଉଛି different type of ତମର sustainable development ହେଇକିରା ତମର ରହି ପାରିଲା ନା ନାହିଁ. So here the three quality of the sustainable development is that conserving the environment in a manner that the present generations can make use of biological resources without denying the same privileges to the coming generations. Okay? किसी doubt? अच्छा, तम ना गजेंद्र बेहेरा. अच्छा, thanks गजेंद्र बेहेरा. ମୁଁ ତମକୁ ଶ୍ରୀଲଙ୍କା ଲେଖି ଦେଇଥିଲି ମାଲେସିଆ ବଦଳ ବାଇ ମିଷ୍ଟେକ୍ କହି ଦେଇଥିଲି ତ. ଆଉ କିଛି ଡାଉଟ୍ ଅଛି? नो डाउट. प्रोसीड करिବି. प्रिया चौधरी, सुमिता त्रिपाठी. अच्छा, नेक्स्ट स्लाइड जाउची मो. किंतु मु तार स्लाइड बनिनी, मु ताको ऑडियो रे कहि देबी तमको. प्लीज प्रोसीड. ओके. पाठ बुझुची ना स्पीड होची. This is my today is my last class. If you are having any doubt, then ask me. किसी डाउट नहीं? अच्छा, किंतु मु नेक्स्ट स्लाइड किसी कहिनी तुमको ऑडियो रे मु कहि देबी. The next unit, that is unit 14, that is called as the political and security issues. If you are having the PDF with you, then open the PDF. The political and security issues. Okay, in political and security issues, we are having what? There are different type of securities are there. Security issues. Security issues means what? The country that are suffering from war, external aggressions, military corps aggressions. So different things are there. So a country try to escape this type of problems if the country having in its fold the security issues. If the country security is very strong, then the other country cannot attack. So for this purpose, what are the different type of security issues are there? The first security issues means what? Why everyone wants security? Because everyone wants to live in the world of peace, and they want to avoid war. If you want to sustain yourself for a long period of time, everyone wants security. Security here what? Security of your life, and security of your life totally depends upon the security of a country. If a country is secure, then the life of a citizen is also always secure. एबे मझरे जिन हमु लागुतला लोक पूरा तमरो वायरल कर देतिले जे कोरोना रे सब मर जा किबा तमरो चाइना एग्रेशन ले सब मर जा. So these are what? Sometimes the natural your problems are there. Sometimes artificial problems are there. Corona is a natural problem. Then artificial problem means what? The immigrations of China inside India. तमको लागुची इंडिया सिक्योरिटी हॉट हो. जदि इंडिया सिक्योरिटी नॉर्मली कोन द लाइफ ऑफ ए सिटीजन इज इन एंडेंजर. आमर धीरे धीरे आम लाइफ टा मध्य खराब हो जिवो. So everyone wants security. मते वॉइस ब्रेक लागुची कि रे ना मु आउ गोटे फोन धरिबी किसी वॉइस ब्रेक लागुनी तो वॉइस ब्रेक होची अच्छा एबे हेलो हाँ एबे लागुनी तो मते तो क्लियर सुबुची तो अरुण तमो वॉइस ब्रेक होची राइट अच्छा प्रिय तमो सुबुची तो काहाको सुबुची काहाको सुबुनी मु निजे बुझी पाउने अच्छा ताले मु प्रोसीड करूची मते तो ठीक सुबुची so in the political and security issues the different type of your issues are there that are related to manageable manageable kire ମାନେ perfect clear ନାହିଁ କହିବ ମାନେ ମୁଁ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଫୋନ ରେ ପଳେଇବି ନହେଲେ ଆଚ୍ଛା ତମ ଭଏସ ବ୍ରେକ୍ ହଉଛି କେନ ଚେଞ୍ଜ କରିବି କି ବୁଝୁଛୁ ଯେ ନେଟୱାର୍କ ଇସ୍ୟୁ କିନ୍ତୁ ଭଏସ ବ୍ରେକ୍ ହେଲେ ତମେ ବୁଝିପାରିବନି ଜିନିଷଟା ଏବେ ଠିକ ଚାଲିଛି ଆଚ୍ଛା proceed perfectly not clear not perfect କରିବି କଣ ତମେ 50-50 ଭୋଟ ଦେଲେ ମୁଁ ଜାଣି ପାରୁନି ମୁଁ କଣ କରେ ନା ଟିକେ ଭାବୁଛ ମୁଁ ନେକ୍ସଟ ସ୍ଲାଇଡ ନେକ୍ସଟ କୋଡ ବି ଗୋଟେ ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ରୁ ଜଏନ୍ କରୁଛି ହ୍ୟାଲୋ ଏବେ ଶୁଭୁଛି ହଁ so what are the different type of security use the first is called as and control is called as arms control नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम मोर तो प्रॉब्लम होची ना तम प्रॉब्लम होची मु किछि बुझी पाने so here if we take the example of disarmament and arms control we can say is that disarmament what is the meaning of disarmament disarmament means limiting controlling using arms it means that limiting controlling and reducing the arms if the country hesitates arms and ammunitions the country should not increases the arms and ammunitions the country what the country should apply the arms and ammunitions which are already had with herself for the only for the positive purposes not for the negative purpose so this is what This is called as the disarmament stands for limiting. Limiting means what? What you are having, don't develop, don't increase. That is called as the limiting. Next one is called as controlling. Controlling means what? Controlling means to control your activity and not to do any advancement to produce the arms and ammunition. And next one is called as reducing. Reducing means what? Dumping the arms and ammunitions which are with you in certain places. ଆମ ପାଖରେ arms and ammunition ଯାକ ଅଛି, ଯଦି ତାକୁ ପଜିଟିଭ ପର୍ପୋଜ ରେ ୟୁଜ ନ କରୁଛ, ତାହେଲେ ସେଇ arms and ammunitions को ତମେ ପୋତି ଦିଅ. So these are called as the disarmament or arm control issues. In 1950, in 1950, the United Nations Charter envisaged the regulations of armaments is the main source for the progressive establishment of peace and security. If a country wants certain type of peace and security, then the country should control or make certain type of regulations for the limiting the arms and ammunition. So here in 1950, the United Nations Charter had declared that every country should sign regulations for the disarmament. Because what? It requires for the progressive establishment of international peace and security. Because we know that all the countries are busy in producing arms and ammunition. No one is inferior to others. China, say Bartaman develop, India developed, Pakistan developed, USA developed, सब country developed. सब country को जेतला हमें request करूचे arms and ammunition को control करो. No one is agreed because everyone is in fear that the other country can having a attack. अन्य country attack कर दे पारे. So they are prepared. They are well off and they are prepared themselves to fight against the immigrating country. जो country जदि पॉसिबल अटैक करिया पई तम पाके तम कहबो तो तम पाके आर्म्स रखन मो करन समो करन किंतु सेपर तार आर्म्स एंड ammunition से ताके डेवलप हिएते से टाइम रे तम कंट्री को अटैक करला but you should have the sufficient weapons to mitigate the intervened country. जो country तमको interfere करला बा intervene करला अन्य country सहित तमे ताकू निश्चित भाବରେ करने चेष्टा करे. So this is called as the definitions of disarmament. In the World Congress of Disarmament, it defined that disarmament is any form of action aimed at limiting, controlling, and reducing arms. What I was already said to you. It was a process in transforming the current system of armed nations into a plan on armed peace. If there will be the limitations of the armaments, then the country will go towards peace, towards tranquility, towards justice, and towards the solidarity. So in your first and second pages, it was already over what? The meaning of your disarmament. And in someone says that the arms control or the disarmament can making it fold certain issues. The first one, to freeze, that is disarmament. To limit, that is disarmament. Reduce or abolish certain category of weapons is called as disarmament. Freeze, freeze means what? To stay. Limit, reduce or abolish. Limit करो, h୍ରାସ करो, किंवा total भाବରେ abolish करो. That is the meaning of disarmament. Second is prevent certain military activities. If the military activity is not required, then you should not assist the military activity or intervene to another country by your military troops. तमे attack करनी किंवा अन्य को help करनी attack करिबा पाए. So this is what prevent certain military activities. Third one, regulate the deployment of armament or armed force. You should not deploy. You should not appoint the armed forces. If you want peace, if you want prosperity, if you want your country to be secure, then you should not deploy the armed forces. Then the next one is, माने कोन घरे जदि तमे गोटे छुरी रखिच बा गोटे खंडा रखिच कि गोटे गन रखिच, because why? Because you are feeling insecurity yourself. आमे जो आर्म फोर्सेस रखुचे हमु कोन पे रखुचे, हमको डर लागुचे अन्य कंट्री अटैक कर दो. So there was a havoc in our mind that there should be deployment of your armed forces, because at any time other country can intervene or can aggravate you. Then to prescribe the transfer of some military important items. You should prescribe the transfer of some military important items. So the military important items you should eliminate. You should not apply, you should eliminate. Then reduce the risk of accidental war. Accidental war means what? That is called imminent war. At any time, the war will happen. हमको लागुची के पाकिस्तान वार कर दो, 2 मास तले लागुतला पाकिस्तान वार कर दो, केबे लागुची बांग्लादेश वार कर दो, मेरीटाइम वार, केबे लागुची चाइना वार कर दो, बॉर्डर वार, केबे किए तमरो वार कर दे. So these are what? These are called as that you should reduce the risk of accidental war. How you can reduce the risk of accidental war? Being friendly or make friendship with your enemy country. जो कहउचंती शत्रु सहित तमे जदि सांग हबो, then there is no questions of problem from the enemy. Our enemy, the enemy should not confirm themselves or himself that you are the enemy. तमे गोटे enemy तार, तमे केबे शत्रु को जानिया को दबोनी जे तमे तार शत्रु. So this is the first thing. Reduce the risk of accidental war. You should reduce. Then use certain kinds of weapons or methods of war. You should say no. That is to prohibit the use of certain kinds of weapons or methods of war. That weapons, which weapons is always a problem for the what? For the environment. जो weapons को कितना weapons को हमको मना करिया पड़ेगा. जो weapon गोटे मिनिट रे पूरा वर्ल्ड टाको डिस्ट्रॉय कर पारेबो. Then build confidence among state through openness. तमे केते arms and ammunitions produce कलो, you should open with the neighbors. तमे कहउथबो तम neighbors हाइड करके रखि देबो. जा फल कोन हो, there is a chances of the war, there is a chances of insecurity. If the two countries are friendly with one to another and they will not be any type of the game of hide and seek, then what will happen? There will be the confidence among all the nations of the world. So the disarmament and your arms control, these are called as the interchangeable issues. Arms control is the step towards disarmament. If you are controlling your arms, then it will be steps towards the disarmament. Okay, so this type of your disarmament to arms control took place in 1950 and 1960 by the initiation of United States of America. And at that time, why it was happened? Because at that time, after the bipolarizations, United States of America is in a severe shock. It is in a very severe shock that maybe the Russia or maybe some other nations, they were engaging in producing the arms and ammunition. And for these purposes, in 1949, United States of America approaching every nations of the world to sign the treaty of NATO. In that treaty, every country have a approach not to increase the arms and ammunition. Whatever the arms and ammunition are with themselves, they will officially declare. जो आर्म्स एंड आमुनेशन तांका पाखरे थिबो से सबु जाक जिंसोडा से माने ऑफिशियली डिक्लेयर करबे. Otherwise, what will happen? There will be the eruptions of the nuclear war. And if there is the eruption of the nuclear war, then the whole world will be destroyed within a very few minutes. Okay. Then in the next your slide, I am not having any slide. तुमको कहि दोचे जी जदि एग्जाम रे तुम आसीला, what are the 4 pillars of disarmament strategy? What are the 4 pillars of disarmament strategy? The first, if you want the disarmament, the first you should having the arms control. Then the second is called as the crisis preventions, crisis control, and crisis management. If there is any type of, what do you mean by the crisis? Crisis means what? Any type of disorder are there. The military disorder, the political disorder, the कोनोसी प्रकार कौन कोचन जेटा अव्यवस्था. If there is any type of crisis, जदि थिला, जदि हबो, then you want to prevent them. If there is any type of military disorder will be going to happen, then you should prevent this type of crisis. If it was already burst out, then you should control and you should manage and you should try to establish a order society. जदि disorder हिजे society, ताले society कौन करे प्रथमे तो prevent कराबो न हेबा पाई. जदि हेगला control करो और manage करो to establish a orderly society. Then the next one is called as that the confidence building. Confidence, what is the meaning of confidence building? Confidence building means what? The confidence or maybe what? The openness of one to another. Okay. Then in your next slides, what are the different types of the functions of arms control? So in the functions of arms control, we are having different functions like that of reductions of war. If there is the arms control is there will not be any type of war, nor any accidental war, nor any type of the planned war is there. If there is arms control, there will be no probability of the war. Second is that slow down the global and the regional arms race. Okay, it will slow down the global and regional arms race. Not only regionally, but globally, it slowed down the races. Then the third one is called as that increase the predictability among the opposing state. Among the opposing state means what? That is called as that the rivalry states. Predictability among the opposing states. Then these are the different your functions are there, like that of minimize the disparity between heavily and lightly armed state, and thus remove the source of instability, encourage state to resort to peace means of resolving conflicts, save resources for economic and social development, and promote trust and better understanding. So these are very easy principles are there, or easy functions are there of the arms control or the disarmament. So we are having what? Your 8 functions are there that are from the disarmament. So the main objective of disarmament means what? Crisis prevention, crisis control, and crisis manage. Then in your next slide, what do you mean by United Nations? What was the role of United Nations for making the disarmament? आमे तो गोटे तो फंक्शंस देखिले, तार पिलर्स देखिले, वर्तमान तार यूनाइटेड नेशंस कोन, यूनाइटेड नेशंस रो रोल रो डिसआर्ममेंट में कोन रोल से करछि. ओके, सेडा तमरो गोटे तमरो कोन करछि यूनाइटेड नेशंस जनरल असेंबली, फर्स्ट जनरल असेंबली रे जोडा तमरो कोन करछि डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ डिसआर्ममेंट डेलिब्रेशंस इश्यूज आर डिस्कस्ड. तापर तमरो डिफरेंट कमिटी मध्ये होछि, तमरो जनरल असेंबली डिफरेंट कमिटी होछि, डिफरेंट कॉन्फ्रेंस होछि, डिफरेंट तमरो कमिशंस होछि. ए जको जिंस रे थ्रू दिस your United Nations try to control the disarmament issues. Then there is no need of nuclear issues are there. एटा तमो लेखिया किछ आवश्यक दरकार नै, किंतु 1996 रो सीटीबीटी आ 1968 रो एनपीटी this has a major role to play. Then in the next slides, India's disarmament policy. एटा तुमको दरकार. आ गोटे रहला जेतु हमरो आज टाइम कम अछि सेतले हम स्पीड चलछि. एटा दरकार नै ओवरव्यू ऑफ इंटर रिलेशनशिप अमंग द फोर रिलेटेड कांसेप्ट्स ऑफ स्ट्रेटजी. एटा दरकार नै. ओके, आ तमरो कोन रहला तमरो disarmament relations in between disarmament and development. Just थोड़े 2 to 3 lines तमर दरकार. What was the role of international? If there is no arms control, there is the chances of international terrorism. जोड़ा तमरो United States hello political and security issues. Good slides on the economic. I think अपने voice problem है. Rejoin करो.
Slides are not visible.
नहीं slide दरकार नहीं. इटी slides में बने नहीं तो कहती ना. ମୁଁ ତମର 3ଟା यूनिट गोटे यूनिट रो स्लाइड बने थिले. अच्छा सेतिले तम स्लाइड ता नॉट विजिबल. फर्स्ट जो हां फर्स्ट रे जो तमरो स्लाइड ता करथिली सेटा पॉलिटिकल डिप्लोमेटिक इश्यूज रो स्लाइड्स ता. बाकी कोन से स्लाइड करिनी. तुमको जस्ट जेहेतु तुम 3-4टा यूनिट थिला मु तुम आउटलाइन करके काउंसलिंग कर दोची. तमे एग्जांपल लिखिबो. सेतिले स्लाइड तुमको दोसुनी. इकोनॉमिक इश्यूज रे तमरो कोन हबो ना तमरो इंडिया's role in MNCs तापर तमरो ला इंडिया रोल तो मल्टीनेशनल MNC रो फुल फॉर्म जानि छ तो तापर तमरो ला नेक्स्ट होची एशियन एसोसिएशन ऑफ साउथ ईस्ट एशियन नेशंस हला एटा तमो जो होची इकोनॉमिक इश्यूज रो जे इंडिया इन कोलैबोरेशंस विथ economic assistance countries. हेलो हाँ ये सुबुची तो तमर तातिर एशियन सार्क ये जो तम रीजनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जति पढेली सेमानकर रोल आ contributions economical contributions to the other nations जो कवर करे को पड़ो social issues हेलो सोशल एंड कल्चरल इश्यूज रे ताको तीन भाग रे डिवाइड करियो गोटे होची द इश्यूज दैट आर रिलेटेड विथ ह्यूमन राइट्स द इश्यूज दैट आर रेजिंग what that is raising the issue against the human rights like that of international bills of right your international charter frameworks so these issues you have to cover then humanitarian issues जोटा कि तमरो सोशल एंड कल्चरल इश्यूज भीतर आसीओ then environment रे तमरो जो environment issues जोटा कि तमरो रियो जनरल environment issues दिला ग्लोबल चेंज बीट जोटा 1997 रे थिला एस्क्यूटो प्रोटोकॉल से एस जोटा कि तमरो रिलेटेड थिला क्लाइमेट चेंज ऊपर सब जगह तमरो कोन आछो सोशल और कल्चरल इश्यूज रे इंडिया रो रोल ए सब कोन ता भितरे तमरो रिलीजियस इश्यूज जो श्रीलंका रे जो तमरो एलटीटी अटैक ऊपर किंबा तमरो लिबरेशंस मूवमेंट जाको जो इंडिया करे छी ए सब जगह भितरे तमरो कोन आसीबो तमरो रिलीजियस इश्यूज सोशल इश्यूज ह्यूमैनिटेरियन इश्यूज एनवायरमेंटल इश्यूज ग्लोबल इश्यूज ए सब जगह तमरो रहइबो कोन सोशल एंड कल्चरल इश्यूज ओके तापर तमरो रहला टोटल इश्यूज टाको मु आज चारिटा स्लाइड रे करछि जोटा कि तमरो यूनिट 14 पॉलिटिकल एंड सिक्योरिटी इश्यूज इकोनॉमिक इश्यूज जोटा कि यूनिट 15 जोटा तम रोल ऑफ एमएनसी एंड एशियन सार्क तापर एपेक ओके तापर ईयू इन तमरो जोटा यूरोपियन यूनियन ए सब जकर इश्यूज व्हाट वाज द इंडिया's स्टैंड in ASEAN in तमरो देखि द आ इंडिया रो कंट्रीब्यूशंस कोन थिला तापर तमरो पॉलिटिकल डिप्लोमेटिक इश्यूज रे म तुम पढेली जोटा डिटेल्स पढेची तापर नेक्स्ट होची तमरो सोशल एंड कल्चरल इश्यूज so questions may come 4 questions will come the questions relating to issue will definitely come but 4 questions of issues will come maybe political maybe economical maybe social maybe security or maybe cultural so if any questions will come regarding the security issues that is the what is the disarmament what is arms control what are the different functions of arms control your topic that is the political and security issues अच्छा आ कोन स्टूडेंट डाउट अछि हमरो चारिटा इश्यूज आज कवर हैला तमर जेहेतु आज टाइम नथिला आ मु टिके बिजी थिली हम सार भी मते जॉइन करियो लेट करले सेति लगी तमर चारिटा रु मु चेष्टा कली चारिटा जक एनी कंप्लीट हेबा पर चारटा यूनिट को अच्छा आ किछि डाउट है ए जो मु आज जो टॉपिक का चूज करथिली ताई तमर डिजार्मामेंट गोटे टॉपिक अछि ह्यूमन राइट्स भी अछि जोडा कि तमर ऑलरेडी कवर कोडारे होछि इकोनॉमिक इश्यूज रे भी आसुची जोडा कि तमर डिफरेंट रीजनल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस जोडा तमर आज रो स्लाइड रे मु कवर करछि जोडा इकोनॉमिक इश्यूज भीतर आसीबो एशियन केबे थिला इंडिया रो कोन रोल थिला एशियन रो आ सार्क कोन इंडिया रे वर्तमान मेंबर सार्क रो अछि ना नै ए सब जिंस बोले तापरे पॉलिटिकल डिप्लोमेसी एटा सरला तो पढे देबी छाड़ दियो तापरे सोशल एंड कल्चरल इश्यूज जोडा रे आमे आज ह्यूमन राइट्स और एनवायरनमेंट ऊपर किछिटा गोटे कवर करछे ह्यूमन राइट्स एंड एनवायरनमेंट जोडा कि तुम डिटेल्स अछि कवर करछे बाकी एलटीटीटी और ह्यूमैनिटेरियन इंटरवेंशन निजरो तुम लिखिबो ओके स्टूडेंट्स बेस्ट ऑफ लक फॉर योर एग्जामिनेशंस मु मोर ट्राई कले तीनटा क्लास भीतर टोटल यूनिट जति अछि मु कोर्स को कंप्लीट करिया पे all the best for your examinations if you are having any doubt regarding your questions or relating your questions then you can write down in the chat box which questions अछि कि वॉइस ब्रेक आती हैला तमानो प्रॉब्लम हैला नहीं रे किछि डाउट अछि तो मते पतारे किंतु मु जानि छी जे तमे जिनसोडा तम डिफिकल्ट हबोनी कारण ह्यूमन राइट्स इज एन इजी टॉपिक एनवायरनमेंट इज इजी टॉपिक ग्लोबलाइजेशन इजी टॉपिक regional organizations are very easy Mamta I also thank you तमको थैंक्स दोची thanking to all the students SK Creations everyone Priya Chaudhary तमको डाउट कोन लाइला मो क्लास डिफिकल्ट लाइला कि class difficult in spite of the voice breaking any other problem you are having with you किछि problem हैला कि you are facing any problem खाली voice break तमर 5-10 मिनट हे जे आउ किछि problem हैला कि अच्छा नो डाउट अच्छा स्लाइड को मु तमको शेयर करछि प्रभास सर को कौन लिख रे पॉलिटिकल अगेन रिपीट द पॉलिटिकल इश्यूज कोडा पॉलिटिकल इश्यू पढ़े सेटा को राइट्स कर नथिली मु ताको ऑडियो रे तुम कहि देली अच्छा सो क्वाइट अंडरस्टैंड मैक्सिमम आर रिपीटिंग फ्रॉम फर्स्ट ईयर so quite understandable अच्छा अच्छा गोटे तो मु भूल कहिथिली अरुण तमे जो लिखिचो पॉलिटिकल इश्यूज माने पॉलिटिकल सिक्योरिटी इश्यूज पचारचो ना पॉलिटिकल डिप्लोमेटिक कोडा पचारचो दीटा अछि गोटे अछि पॉलिटिकल एंड डिप्लोमेटिक आ गोटे अछि पॉलिटिकल एंड सिक्योरिटी political security issues so generally तार questions कोन आसीबो definitions of disarmament relations with of disarmament with development what are the different four pillars of disarmament strategy what are the functions of disarmament what are the agency that are contributed for disarmament तमर यूएन जनरल असेंबली हैला बा तमर डिफरेंट डिसआर्मामेंट कमिशंस मेसिनरी कॉन्फ्रेंस एड कमिटी ए सब जगह जो रहिला that are contributed for establishing the disarmament ओके जोटा तुम आर्म्स कंट्रोल आ तुम न्यूक्लियर इश्यूज भितर रहला ताहिले तुम लिखिबो व्हाट इज इंडियास रोल इन द contributions of arms control. Is India is a member of CTBT or not? What is the meaning of NPT? Was India signed the NPT or not? What was the major cause for which India refused to sign the NPT? That was in the year of 1968. And in CTBT, that was perhaps in the year 1996. So these are the things that you have to write. So I think that any doubt student you were having? So main focus is on what? The functions, the pillar, the meaning, and also the agencies. Agency for disarmament. Any doubt students? चार्टा है इश्यू तुम यूनिट 14 यूनिट 15 यूनिट 17 एंड यूनिट 16 14 रु 17 आज सब अधिक क्लास अधिक माने यूनिट मु कवर कर नो डाउट क्लास कोन स्पीड ही होची रे किछि डाउट नै अच्छा मु तुमको एक तमरे एग्जाम रो क्वेश्चंस देखुचो एग्जाम रे क्वेश्चंस कोन आछि एक्सपेक्टेड क्वेश्चंस देखुचो फॉरेन पॉलिसी तार प्रिंसिपल्स हम जो फर्स्ट क्लास रे जो पढाई थिले एजा प्लस आ गोटे जिंस तमे कवर करिवो जोटा कि इंडिया रिलेशंस विथ नेबर्स जोटा कि मु तुमको कवर कर पालेने काहे तमर टाइम में इंडिया रिलेशंस विथ नेबर्स टाको तमे टिके निज आडो ट्राई करिवो अच्छा आउ किते तो नथिला तमरो एतिकी तो हमर टोटल यूनिट थिला गोटे यूनिट मु छाडी देछि सेटा तमे निज आडो करिवो ऑल द बेस्ट स्टूडेंट्स सर ओवर टू यू